Former Chargers star Shawne Merriman is finding himself in some legal trouble this morning.
He is being sued by the family of Kimberly Fattorini, who claims Merriman and others are to blame for Fattorini's death 2 years ago. News 8's Steve Price is live in our newsroom with the details. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Stella and Eric. And I should tell you that Merriman does deny the allegations and does not face any criminal charges. But Kimberly Fattorini's family is convinced that he's responsible for her death.
According to TMZ, Shawne Merriman is being sued by the parents of Kimberly Fattorini. They say their daughter was drugged and possibly assaulted by the former Chargers superstar. Fattorini, seen here in pictures posted to a GoFundMe page, was a Playboy employee who died in 2017. Her death was ruled accidental, with the cause being an overdose from alcohol and drugs. Merriman was there when Fattorini passed out, and a friend of hers called 911. According to TMZ, Fattorini's parents claim their daughter sent texts earlier that night saying Merriman poured something into her drink. They now believe that something was GHB, a powerful depressant commonly referred to as the date rape drug. Fattorini's autopsy didn't indicate foul play, but she was also not tested for sexual assault. The complaint claims negligence, battery, and a violation of the Drug Dealer Liability Act. A representative for Merriman told TMZ, quote, "This alleged lawsuit is baseless. Shawne attended an after party more than 2 years ago where a young woman unfortunately overdosed. The police thoroughly investigated and found no wrongdoing whatsoever by Shawne. The fact that they are raising this now, 2 years after the fact, demonstrates the baseless nature of these allegations."
And Merriman has been on social media since news of this lawsuit broke, but he has not commented on it. Fattorini's family is asking for damages.